How would you say your price? I mean, what if you work with it? Like, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you get to Amherst, then, or do you get acceptance from all four at that point? That's the biggest problem, right? Their egos decide to take on the challenges. This is the direction we're going in, and that's not. Marty's going to have a hard time accepting that. Yeah.
Folks, may I invite you to sit down?
He just had a meeting.
Come on in. Actually, I know Lon's not. He's going to we're going to find a time to talk about it. Folks, come on in. If I can ask you to take a seat.
So you're not using the wireless at all? Yeah, you should because you're hooked up into the sound.
Okay, we're going to try one more time. Let's try. Terrific. That was the signal to come, sit on down. You gotta love what you learned from your kindergarten teachers. Okay, folks, thank you so much for being here. Good morning. It's slightly chilly, but the coffee is warm. Don't hesitate to go back for seconds and help yourself. You can see in front of us, a quartet from the Suzuki School are just packing up. Thank you for serenading us. Sachiko, thank you for being part of this. Sachiko Ishikara, thank you. I am so glad that so many of us could gather this morning and that the weather gods were kind to us again. It is important to say hello to our, I used to call us old friends, but I've learned we say friends of long standing, and to greet some new ones. And I think all of us are still recovering from the pandemic. It feels so darn good to be together, to be able to be maskless. Fills my heart with joy. This is the 49th year here in Newton that we have gathered in May for a breakfast. And I think this process of literally breaking bread is important and good. We are joined by all sorts of elected officials, and what I'm grateful for them being here. If I can, hold any applause for a sec. I'm going to suggest that anybody stand up. I'll probably end up missing somebody, so you'll probably give a wave. But I believe we have with us District Attorney Marion Ryan. May not have made it here quite yet, but she's on her way. We have our City Council President, Susan Albright, and again, stand up when if I call your name, wait for the applause. Our City Council Vice President, Rick Lipoff, our City Council President Emeritus, Lyle Baker, our school chair, Tamika Olszewski, is here somewhere. I saw Vice Chair Kathy Shields. I'm going to keep adding names. All sorts of city councilors, and please know a whole slew of city councilors and myself just clicked off the Zoom last night at 11:35 p.m. So they're really drinking coffee. But we have with us city councilors Vicki Danberg and Deb Crossley, Andrea Downs, Andrea Kelly, Alicia Bowman, Tariq Lucas, Mark Laredo, Bill Humphrey, Holly Ryan, Brenda Noel, Emily Norton, Pam Wright, and on our school committee we are also joined by Anping Shen and Emily Prenner, and maybe somewhere in the world in here is Rajiv Parlikar. There's a rumor he's in the house. Did I miss anybody? Before we applause, it's been an extraordinary time. Stay up, because to put yourself out there, to take the votes, to take a stand, to stand up for our values, to discuss and sometimes debate in a thoughtful, respectful way is what every single one of these people try to do. I'm grateful for you being role models for all of us. Thank you for your service. We have our own Dana Hansen representing Congressman Jake Auchincloss in the House. Yeah, our beloved. We have an amazing team from the Harmony Foundation and the Newton Interfaith Clergy Association. They pull this together every year. Thank you to all of you. I think some names will be named later. There's a person who made me promise not to say thank you to her, but we must. Hattie Kerwin-Derrick is outside the tent. So, yesterday she was toggling between putting the final touches on a DEI survey that's going to all city-side employees in the next couple of days, as well as managing all of this. She's phenomenal. Thank you, Hattie. We are trying to focus and renew our efforts on building the foundation for racial, ethnic, and religious harmony here in the city. To Councilor Swamy and Jeff Courtyard and the UMass Amherst at Mount Ida team, We are so darn grateful, certainly for you hosting us today, but like many of our other major institutions here, when we reach out and say, can you help us try to do something, the answer from Jeff and Chancellor Swamy is always, let's see how we can figure out how we can help you do that. I'm grateful for that. Councillor Swamy's going to start us off this morning with a welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. The Mount Ida campus of the University of Massachusetts Amherst is honored to have you all here this morning to celebrate the 49th annual Theodore D. Mann Newton Mayor's Community Breakfast. This year's theme, Embracing Community, is especially relevant to this land-grant university and certainly resonates with me. When we acquired the Mount Ida campus 5 years ago, can you believe this, as a resource to offer our students a center for professional development, we understood our responsibility to Newton, and we strive to become contributing members of the community. And what we did not anticipate, though, was the reciprocal level of acceptance that we have experienced from all of you. As we have worked together, developing opportunities for collaboration with our neighbors, businesses, nonprofit partners, faith-based institutions, and City Hall, we have felt the embrace of this community. And this morning, I want to personally thank you all for welcoming us into the city. As I now prepare to end my tenure at the university, I have a favor to ask of you. In July, we will welcome Dr. Javier Reyes as the next Chancellor of UMass Amherst. I know he's going to be an engaged and dynamic leader for the flagship university, and he'll continue to support our mission here on the Mount Ida campus. I ask that you embrace him just as you did me. I know working together, you and Chancellor Reyes will continue the collaboration that has so successfully defined the Mount Ida-Newton partnership. Thank you so much for everything, and I'm truly honored to have been a part of this community. Thank you.
As a community, we have been through so much in the last few years. One of the ways that we've gotten through this is by the deep support and guidance of the Newton Interfaith clergy. They're represented this morning by Reverend Dr. Bailey and maybe Reverend Devlin Scott. I'm not sure if we're just with you. He's going to pull us through all by himself. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chancellor. And thank you, Tony, wherever Tony is. Yeah. Where is Tony? I am Ken Bailey, and I'm from the Newton Highlands Congregational Church. And where it says association, which usually indicates a plural, I'm a singular at the moment because two of my colleagues heard God's invitation to be fruitful and multiply, and they're with their children, but God forgot to add a child care amendment. Meanwhile, tell me if you've heard this one before. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. Probably many of you know those words from Judy Collins, if no one else. Those words are from 1772, but that tune didn't kick in until 2 centuries, 200 years later, and it was the blind boys of Alabama who sang Amazing Grace to the Rising Sun Blues, which is to say they sang ancient words to a new tune. And in a sense, that's what we seek here today as we gather for community. Ancient wisdom, timeless insight, and a new tune. We seek to carry on great traditions and spread them through what Scripture calls God's new song. Timeless visions in brand new vessels. Now, barring a surprise or a reprise, this is my last appearance up front in this space and up front in the program, not because I'm leaving town, but because new leadership is coming in soon. And I have now been through 3 mayors, 1 Marriott, COVID's Zoom time, live TV 1 year, thank you, Newton TV, and 2 tents. And frankly, let's be honest, you've heard enough from me. But as we gather together for our quest for unity, there's some other things that we've had enough of too. For example, I think most of us changed our remarks last year because just when we were gathering, we did so hours after the gun murders in Uvalde, Texas, which eclipsed just days before that the gun murders at the Tops store in Buffalo. And we've had enough of that, and we need a new tune. Last night, a whole bunch of folks and some of you were there also, from different houses of worship, got together to talk about racial equity and housing diversity here in Newton. And it will take hard work to turn our values into structures. But we were there because within living memory, there was redlining in Newton, in our fair city, and its effects echo on, and we've had enough of that, and we need a new tune. Now, perhaps no one better than the table of law enforcement officers know that Massachusetts is now number 2 in white supremacist propaganda incidents. We are led only by Texas. And we're 6th highest in anti-Semitic harassment. And that's a Commonwealth statistic, but Newton is part of this Commonwealth, and we've had enough of that, and we need a new tune. Now, at the heartbeat of my own Christian faith and at the core of the Newton Interfaith clergy and of all of our values, these are central community concerns, along with so many others that are engaged by good people of many faiths. So we have to proceed into the future by nudging out some bits of the past when we've had enough. We can keep God's ancient wisdom and have a new melody, a new harmony, a new creativity in the form of today's theme, which is unity. Some of us will have to change, but all of us will share in this song, because together we do have enough. We do have enough. So I just heard this formulation last week. It was the first time I heard it. Maybe I'm slow to the races, but it was good for an old preacher like me. I can't remember the source. I can't remember the speaker. But the speaker said it's time for us to move from hope to bravery. From hope to bravery. So on behalf of my colleagues like Devlin, who will be here when his children are settled, and he'll be here for the benediction, on behalf of my colleagues like Rabbi Allison Berry, who's also involved in child care this morning, and the Reverend Alicia Johnson, and all of my great colleagues, on behalf of all of us, we offer our ancient interfaith quest for amazing grace, for Kane, for Kwanan, for mercy, and the quest for a new tune. So I invite you very briefly to join me in these words of prayer. Creator God, Sustainer God, Counselor, Advocate, Ruach, and Redeemer, help us to sing your song in harmony. Help us to sing your song in this city. Help us to be more than a municipality, but a community built on unchanging hope, expanding bravery, wise leaders, and values that both cost and deliver, bringing us your promise of overflowing cups for our thirsty, joyful, courageous, wondrous world. So be it. Amen. Now, isn't grace amazing?
So with a new tune, and I hope with harmony, I invite the Harmony Foundation, our hosts, who for close to 5 decades have brought us together, to join me and say a few words. We have Tony Legalbo, Karen Manning, Tamika Olszewski, Renan Loaza, and not quite yet Reverend Devlin Scott, but the other 4.
Thank you, Mayor Fuller. On behalf of the board of the Harmony Foundation, thank you all for being here this morning. The program book, which some of you have taken, and there will be more copies available for you later, and you received it electronically, I hope, includes a brief note on the history of the Harmony Foundation, and I won't repeat it now, but please do take a look at it. It's not quite 5 decades, but it was created in 1990 and still hard at work. A word of thanks to our lead sponsor this morning, the Village Bank. Thank you. And to the Charles River Chamber of Commerce for their valued assistance, and they're over here. And to all of the others that you will note we have thanked in the program book itself. The Harmony Foundation has collaborated over the years with a number of community partners who are here today in the room. In the past year, we have provided small grants to the Juneteenth Organizing Committee, the Indigenous Peoples Day Newton Committee, the Newton Theater Company, the West Suburban YMCA's Child Care Library Project, a DEI initiative at Family Access of Newton, a BIPOC curatorial program at the New Arts Center, and a partnership with Forge to host a community conversation with Chief of Police John Carmichael. Plan on joining us at the next event on our calendar, this year's Juneteenth celebration at the Hyde Community Center. The Harmony Foundation can only do as much as our resources will allow. So if you are inclined to support this morning's event and our ongoing work, we pledge to put your funds to good use. As a community, we face challenges in maintaining our unity. Every organization and individual under this tent is part of meeting that challenge. We will do so working together with humility, with openness, and with mutual respect. Thank you again for being here this morning. It's our privilege to be your host.
So I always like to start from a place of gratitude, and it is easy this morning to do just that. For the 49th time in May, we are gathering because it is important to follow the tradition that Mayor Teddy Mann started, to renew our commitment to this good city and to forge an even better community. I wish all of you could be up here standing where I am, because I get to see the community that is represented here in this room a little bit even more clearly than all of you who are seated. I am seeing city and school employees sprinkled throughout. Superintendent McMains with some police officers, thank you. I see Chief Gentile with some firefighters. Right behind them, a bunch of our department heads, with a special shout out to our ISD Commissioner, John Lojek, who is retiring on June 30th. What a servant. I am grateful, as I have said, for those who are elected officials, and it's hard for this particular person to sneak in, but Sheriff Peter Katusian also snuck in. There he is in the back. But also here are representatives of nonprofits, for-profits. I'm going to do a shout out to Joe DeVito and the Village Bank. He deserves it. Our universities and colleges, you should also know, John Lojek, you're retiring on June 30th. So is Counselor Swamy. He too, we wish both of you Godspeed as you go on to your next ventures. We have a slew of businesses represented here, cultural and arts institutions, our health care partners at Newton Wellesley Hospital, and so many community groups. And in fact, it is all of you who are actually building community. We try to support it from City Hall, but that comes from all of you. I also want to say it's interesting, we are represented geographically by 13 villages, and I've always struggled with this saying, are we 13 villages in one city or one city and 13 villages? And I keep going back and forth on that. I have not resolved that dilemma. If you ever have advice on that, we tend to really focus on what is happening in our immediate neighborhood. But I am feeling the strain that we have to reinforce the commonwealth, the common good, the city as a whole simultaneously. 2 weeks ago, I was so pleased to be in a position to officially lift the COVID-19 state of emergency here in Newton. And while we now have the tools to manage the virus much more effectively, it is palpable the issues that still linger and that, in fact, the pandemic magnified. Reverend Bailey spoke about the growth in hate that we're seeing not just in the country, but here in our community. All of us have seen not just the statistics, but the people who are struggling with depression, loneliness, and anxiety. And I'm looking over at our school folks. We're really seeing it within the Newton Public Schools and the children that we're surrounded by. I see very clearly social media. It's not just an undue influence, but it's a negative influence on people's minds and how they're thinking and how they're acting. And that said, coming to a morning like this, I'm still optimistic, I'm still hopeful, and it's because of all of you and what each of you are doing. I also saw it really clearly. It didn't come to fruition, but there was a strong possibility that here in Newton, we might have been able to be home for an emergency shelter for families. This community was magnificent. There have been others who have kind of tried to figure out all the ways to say no. This was a community that was leaning in and trying to say, how can we help? Nicely done, Newton, and it was all of you. So I'm going to finish up by saying you're going to see 3 students who are celebrated. They are our future, Gianna, Gabriella, and Sophia. I can't wait to hear more. We're going to recognize 3 extraordinary people. Joe Prestigion from Cabot's, Ruth Hoshino from our school health services, and Dr. Adrian Mims from the Calculus Project. So this was not, I wish I could say I thought of this consciously. It was only as I was writing this up that I said, oh my gosh, they're from the 3 industries that probably, or sectors that were most impacted by the pandemic. You've got restaurants, healthcare, and education. And all 3 are such caring people, such good people, and doing such important work and doing it so well. Thank you for letting us celebrate you and hear from you today. And with that, I get to go to youngsters one more time. I'm not quite sure where they are. Where are our troubadours? Oh, there you are. There we go. I invite our middle school Newton All-City troubadours with Jamie Alberts to come serenade us.
We need to wake you up a little bit. And now for something a little calmer.
Thank you to the troubadours. We move from students to a remarkable educator. Dr. Adrian Mims is a remarkable human being, driven by a deep commitment to closing achievement gaps and empowering all students in the classroom and beyond. He is the founder and CEO of the Calculus Project, a nonprofit that works collaboratively with school districts and post-secondary institutions, community-based organizations, small business, and corporations to diversify significantly the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics pipeline, otherwise known as STEM. Adrian, I hope you feel so darn proud. So far, the Calculus Project has impacted over 10,000 students in over 100 middle and high schools in Massachusetts and Florida. And here in Newton, this past year, we saw our largest cohort of over 200 NPS African American, Hispanic, and low-income students, all the way from 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade participate. Please join me in a warm welcome for Dr. Adrian Mims.
Good morning. I have to say, as a young man growing up in South Carolina, I never expected to be here in Massachusetts giving a speech. Wow. Anything is possible. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. I want to thank Mayor Fuller for your gracious invitation, and also Hattie. Where's Hattie? I just found a new friend. I want to thank her for helping me with all of the logistics. And I also want to thank ChatGPT for writing this lovely speech. I can't wait to read it. Before I share a few remarks, please turn to your neighbor and say, "You look fabulous." And I'm not done yet. And I hope you have a great day. Wonderful, wonderful. Each day, I make it a goal to say something to make someone smile or feel good, because you never know the challenges and struggles that people face. I never underestimate what I call the power of one. One person saying or doing one thing that can have a profound impact on someone else's life or the lives of many. For me, my power of one is a program I created at Brookline High School called the Calculus Project. Which is now a nonprofit and serves over 10,000 students in Florida and Massachusetts. Our mission is to dramatically increase the representation and success of Black, Hispanic, and low-income students in advanced mathematics. I gotta tell you, you gotta keep a secret here. Yeah, you can clap, you can clap. That's fine. You gotta keep a secret. I know I'm on TV, maybe you can edit this a little bit, but don't tell the governor of Florida. No, I'm gonna get some emails. For you to understand why I do this work, I have to give you a small glimpse into my life growing up in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I attended James F. Burns High School, a school named after a former South Carolina governor who was against anti-lynching laws. This school also refused to integrate until 1969. Somehow, they didn't get the memos about the Brown versus the Board of Education ruling and the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Either they couldn't read them, I don't know. And when they did integrate, black students attended a high school where the mascot was a rebel soldier with the Confederate flag. Although I graduated from high school in 1989, it was still a racially hostile and sometimes violent environment. I'm also going to share with you some information about that district that may help you here in Newton. I don't know. It's a secret that they use to save money. They let high school students drive the school buses. Yeah. I'm sure you're going to find money now, huh? To this day, I'm still trying to figure out how Kenny Bruton got approved to drive a school bus. Within weeks of getting his own bus, he went joyriding and flipped the bus in a church parking lot, trying to do donuts. I digress. I graduated from Burns High School, where I didn't take calculus, and I attended the University of South Carolina. As a member of the first generation in my family to attend college, I pursued a degree in electrical engineering. I struggled in college for several reasons. Engineering professors blatantly told me I wasn't welcome there. My high school did not prepare me for post-secondary success, and I also worked 2 jobs to support myself through college. I changed my major from electrical engineering to mathematics my junior year, which meant I had to take several 500-level math courses while working 2 jobs. My power of one was a man named Kofi Fadimba. He was a young man from Togo pursuing his PhD in mathematics. Kofi saw me upset and struggling, and I'll admit, I watched some footage of Brene Brown. I cried, okay? I'm sharing that now. I'm working on being vulnerable, all right? He saw me upset and struggling to solve math problems in the student lounge and offered to help, and the rest is history. He tutored me through those courses and helped me to graduate within 5 years with my degree in mathematics. It is my work through the Calculus Project that I honor and stand on the shoulders of Kofi Fadimba, Bob Moses, founder of the Algebra Project, and my mentor, Dr. Freeman Rabowski, who recently retired as the president of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. This year, I decided to relaunch the Calculus Project as a consortium of districts to address the profound negative impact the pandemic has had on math achievement and to ensure all TCP components are implemented with fidelity. The districts in the consortium include Newton, Brookline, Milton, Chelsea, Braintree, Concord, and North Andover. Last Friday, educators from each of the districts attended a one-day workshop at our office in Westwood. The Calculus Project Consortium is unique because it is the first time school districts, higher education, and the private sector are working collaboratively to share best practices and resources to close the achievement gap in mathematics. If we are serious about education reform and diversifying our STEM workforce, we have to be bold and innovative by providing students with enriching experiences during high school and immediately upon their graduation. Our consortium gives colleges an opportunity to recruit the best students and corporations the ability to cultivate and train their new employees. And some of our most recent initiatives is a partnership with Washington University in St. Louis, where we're working to create a cohort of Calculus Project students who will go off to college together. They'll be able to participate in fly-ins. Washington University in St. Louis have a large endowment, so they have a lot of scholarships that can provide students with full rides who qualify. We also partnered with Aaron Rasmussen, who is a co-founder of Masterclass, who just started a company not too long ago called Outliers that will allow students to take courses for as low as $400 and get credit from University of Pittsburgh. And those credits can transfer anywhere, to Harvard, MIT, all of those great schools. And it can make school a lot more affordable. Also, with regards to workforce development and job placement, I'm very excited to announce that Mott McDonald, which is an international engineering consultancy that has supported the Calculus Project, that operates in over 150 countries and have over 8,000 staff, have agreed to help students who participate in the Calculus Project to work on their resumes. And also this summer, they plan to hold a job fair for Calculus Project students who are already in college to prepare them for internships at Mott McDonald. You can clap for that one. That took me about a year. Also, MathWorks, we're working with MathWorks to use their software, MATLAB, to help students. We want to, when you look at some of these math modeling competitions, they're not very diverse. We want to see greater diversity with students participating in these math modeling competitions. So we're working with them so that Calculus Project districts can have access to their MATLAB software. MATLAB software is used by Tesla, by NASA, by engineering schools. So imagine students in middle school and high school who have access to using this software. They'll be well prepared to go off to college and major in engineering. Also, we're working with Boston University Engineering, and just recently partnered with the MIT Media Lab with a young woman named Rachel Walker, who just created a course that is the intersection of data science and social activism. She calls it data activism. So some of our college Calculus Project students a few months ago were on the campus of MIT doing some really interesting projects there. So we got a lot of wonderful things going on. I want to thank the members of Newton Schools Foundation, school committee, Mayor Fuller, school leadership, and members of the math departments for supporting the families and students who participate in the Calculus Project. I also have to thank my wife too, because she puts up with me. She's right there. And by the way, you look marvelous, and I hope you have a great day. I also want to extend a special thank you to Jennifer Shore and Stephanie Piantidosi, who have co-led TCP here in Newton since its inception in 2014. And by the way, next year marks 10 years, so we have to plan a celebration. Can we leave this tent up long enough? Come back here and celebrate? Okay, great. We can do that. In closing, though, I'd be remiss by not acknowledging that we're living in some very difficult times. Unfortunately, there are groups that attack school districts with frivolous lawsuits for saying the word equity or respecting the differences of a diverse student body. But they also remain silent about gun violence. That is now the leading cause of adolescent deaths in America. And last year, we saw a record number of 46 school shootings in 2022. Their selective outrage is misplaced and will destroy public education if we let them win. I'll leave you with one of my favorite quotes from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. when you are faced with these battles. Dr. Martin Luther King says, on some positions, cowardice asks the question, is it expedient? And then expedience comes along and asks the question, is it politic? Vanity asks the question, is it popular? Conscience asks the question, is it right? There comes a time when one must take the position that is neither safe, nor politic, nor popular, but he must do it because conscience tells him it is right. Newton Public Schools, City of Newton, continue your fight to do what is right. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mims, for doing the work that is right at this intersection of education, workforce development, and equity. Saying thank you matters, and I'm here on behalf of all of us to say thank you to two people. I ask them both to join me, Ruth Hashino and Joe Prestigian. Come on up. That I read this to these two great people. Let me start with Ruth. Ruth Hashino is a Newton institution, and by the way, this is what it says. The print's way too small, so I've got a cheat sheet here. A longtime Newton resident, Ruth started her school nursing career at Service Elementary School in September 2001. She became the director of school health services in January 2005, and since then has led a team of over 30 nurses and health assistants spread out across 23 buildings with her trademark grace. Remember that, Reverend Bailey, wherever you are? Her trademark grace, humility, and kindness, as well as an impeccable fashion sense. Ruth, you look fabulous. Over her 20-plus year career in Newton, Ruth has worked tirelessly to improve the health and well-being of Newton's young people. Her knowledge, wisdom, and patience have guided many a school nurse, whether it's a wide-eyed first-year school nurse or a seasoned one navigating a difficult situation. Her positive influence can be felt both at the system-wide level, where she has improved health policies, and at the personal level, where her calm, steady presence has touched the lives of students, parents, staff, and colleagues. Ruth approaches every challenge with a can-do attitude, and this positivity was very evident during the COVID-19 pandemic. Ruth rose to the occasion and took on the enormous responsibility of helping to shape COVID policies and procedures across the school district. She was integrally involved in tracking COVID cases in schools, implementing testing and vaccination programs, and providing reassurance to students, families, and staff, all while continuing her usual work. And Ruth did all of this with patience and a sense of humor, never letting the sometimes contentious nature of the crisis get in the way of what matters most, the health and well-being of those in her care. Ruth's positive impact on our community has been far-reaching. Every person who has been a student, parent, or staff member at one of Newton's public schools in the last 20 years has benefited from Ruth's unwavering dedication and consistently good judgment in making the Newton Public Schools the healthiest place to learn and to work. For her unwavering dedication and enormous positive impact on our city and schools, which represent the ideals that today's gathering holds dear, I, Mayor Ruthanne Fuller, on behalf of all of us, all the residents of Newton, honor Ruth Ashino with the 2023 Honorable Theodore D. Mann Community Service Award. To Ruth. Oh, stay while I read Joe's. Okay. Joe Prestigion is Newton's secret source of happiness and our community's definition of service. The personification of an ice cream sundae with hot fudge sprinkles and a cherry on top. Joe started working at his parents' restaurant, Cabot's, when he was 11 and took over with the help of his sister, Susan Lipsky, at 23. He served up happiness after Little League games and dance recitals, at first dates and 60th anniversaries, and for birthday celebrations of little ones and older folks. Joe and Cabot's have been much more than a wonderful restaurant and ice cream shop. They made employees an extension of family. Some have worked for the Prestigons for more than 25 years. Others started scooping in high school, went off, got married, had children, who then came back to work at Cabot's. Cleanliness, punctuality, and service were always on the menu for life lessons. Joe's kind heart and remarkable generosity led Cabot's way beyond the brick walls at 743 Washington Street. Joe, with gallons and gallons and gallons did you hear me? Gallons of ice cream. Did everything, everywhere, for everyone, anytime. The Newton Free Library, Newton Serves, Thanksgiving at the Senior Center, any event supporting police, firefighters, and veterans. At all these community events, big and small, Joe, in his easygoing and friendly way, was a waffle cone of joy. Plus, he gave his personal time and big heart, volunteering, for example, on the boards of the John M. Barry Boys and Girls Club of Newton, on Athletes Unlimited, and at the Carroll Center for the Blind, and of course, mentoring students at the Culinary Arts program at Newton North. Well, Joe thankfully has sold his restaurant to another restaurateur who shares his values. Kay, I think you're here somewhere. We're excited. Newtons far and wide can rest assured that he and his family will continue making Newton a more joyous community. In fact, his daughters, Caitlin and Danielle, are doing just that at Newton's Ainger Elementary School. So for bringing smiles to the faces of Newtonians for generations, and for his generosity and dedication to giving back and standing for the ideals that today's gathering holds dear, I'm Mayor Ruthanne Fuller, on behalf of all our residents of Newton, honor Joe Prestigion with the 2023 Honorable Theodore D. Mann Community Service Award. We are blessed with such remarkable people here in our community. And it's a pleasure to introduce Andy Williger, President of the Rotary Club of Newton, and our Interim Superintendent, Dr. Kathy Smith, who are going to celebrate three more terrific people with the Anthony J. Bibbo scholarships. Come on up.
Good morning. I'm Andy Willinger. I am this year's president of the Rotary Club of Newton. And I wish to note that Newton Rotary was chartered in May of 1923, making the club 100 years old this month. So, just to give you an idea of how old this is, did a little research, and sliced bread was invented in 1928, making sliced bread the best thing that ever happened since the Rotary Club of Newton. Okay. Well, thank you so much to the Harmony Foundation for including Rotary and our scholarship awards in today's event. These scholarships are named after a guy named Tony Bibbo. How many of you knew Tony Bibbo? Raise your hand. We ask this every year, but there's always new people, so let me tell you a little bit about who Tony was. Tony was a founder and a longtime director of the Harmony Foundation and an important member of the Newton Rotary from 1970 until his death in 2018. He was a great human being. He was kind, generous, impactful, and beloved. He loved helping people, and he was the type of person we all want to be. I was proud to call him my friend. And now every year about this time we honor and remember him and his commitment to the ideals of Rotary by awarding college scholarships in his name through the Newton Rotary Foundation. Helping others is what Tony did and who he was, and it's what Rotary does and who we are. I also wish to acknowledge the Bibbo family, especially Tony's brother Pat Bibbo, who's actually a twin, for supporting our Bibbo Scholarship Fund this year by encouraging donations from the Newton High School. That's not a typo. There was only one Newton High School then. The class of 1953 at their 70th reunion. And those checks started coming in after they were asked. So thank you to that class. Tony had a huge positive influence on the city of Newton, its family, and its Rotary Club. And now he gets to have a positive influence on these impressive young people, and I think he'd really like that. So please join me in welcoming Interim Superintendent Kathleen Smith to present this year's Anthony J. Bibbo Scholarship Awards.
Thank you. Before I begin, I am so proud to be here this morning. I want to first congratulate all the award recipients, our very own Ruth Ashino, Joe, so many wonderful things happening in the Newton community. It has been such a privilege to be here with you this year for 1 year as your interim superintendent. And I am here when I look at you talk about, or Mayor Fuller, you talk about a unity breakfast. I assure you that what is happening in your schools each and every day is all about unity, all about belonging, all about opportunities, and all about achievement for all of your students in the Newton Public Schools. I have to take this opportunity to thank our school committee, our city councilors, Mayor Fuller, all the elected officials, because the community that cares about their children is a community that will be successful for generations to come. Thank you to the sponsors, the Rotary, the Village Bank, everybody that came together to have this very special day and to honor our students. So without further ado, let me first start, and I'll be reading to you, and you will hear again about our students and what they have achieved. So I have Gianna Burgess from Newton South High School. Gianna, can you join me? There you go. So in the words of Gianna's school counselor, Gianna is an extraordinary student that educators are graced to experience only once each decade or so. She is brilliant, insightful, artistic, kind, and empathetic. As co-president of the Black Student Union for the past 2 years, she helped create and facilitate the school's annual Black Culture Day experience, presenting 2 amazing workshops that she created entirely by herself. A rare and ambitious feat indeed. She is an accomplished photographer and writer who has positively impacted the Newton South community as a champion for social justice, an advocate for marginalized students, and as a role model in several spaces where there is little representation for students of color. Gianna has also been recognized citywide as the inaugural Miss Juneteenth in 2022 for her exemplary social justice work, and was asked to read an original poem at that celebration. Gianna also shared her original poem entitled Changes, The Streets Have Seen It All, for Newton's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. In addition, she is currently a facilitator for South's Courageous Conversations on Race, a legacy scholar, and a mentor in the Williams School, Newton South High School Affinity Group program. Gianna will take her skills and talents to Howard University, a historically backed college or university in Washington, D.C. in the fall. Congratulations, Gianna.
Thank you. I tend to never know what to say in these situations if you've heard me talk before, but thank you to everyone, especially Miss Sumner. Oh my God.
And next, I have Gabriela Dos Anjos. Gabby Dos Anjos is described as a true team player, whether through her involvement in athletics, volunteering, Legacy Scholars, the Early Childhood Education Program, SELF's Global Justice Small Learning Community, or so many other activities that she immerses herself in. She is captain of the varsity basketball and lacrosse teams. She is also captain of Newton South Unified Basketball Team, which brings students with and without intellectual disabilities together on a team. Gabby has played an essential role in Newton South's early childhood education program. In addition, Gabby volunteers to engage with students of color in grades 3 through 5 in the Williams School Newton South Affinity Group program. Gabby is also active in One Night Out, a volunteer organization supporting parents of children with disabilities, and the Green Student Union. A valued member of the Newton South and Metco communities, Gabby plans to become an early childhood educator. She will take her many gifts and talents to UMass Amherst in the fall. Join me in congratulating Gabriella. And next, I would like to have Sophia Murphy join me. Sophia stands out among the class of 2023 at Newton North. She is described by our high school counselor as having a constant, upbeat, positive attitude, a wicked sense of humor, an extremely motivated nature, and a strong connection to others. Sophia has been an active member of Student Council, the Human Rights Council, and the managing editor of the Newtonite, the school's student-run newspaper. And if you have ever been interviewed by them, they are tops. She also finds the time to give back to the wider Newton community. As an ELL tutor at the library, Sophia has been a talented scholar, an athlete, and overall leader at Newton North. She will be attending Colorado College in the fall. Join me in congratulating Sophia.
Hello, everybody. I just wanted to quickly thank the Mr. Heslin's over there, and then my principal, Ms. Swiderskis, and Mr. Medio, who have really just been vital support systems at Newton North, and my mom, and just my family. Everybody's been great, and Newton as a community has been amazing, so thank you.
Thank you.
So as Kathy Smith sneaks back to her seat, stand there for one sec. We owe Kathy Smith a huge debt of gratitude. Coming into this ecosystem at a complicated time where curriculum and pedagogy, excellence and equity, budget and capital investments were all swirling around. It was complicated. We needed a leader, and there she was. You were so generous to say yes to helping us, and you've been enormously helpful. We are all very grateful to you, Kathy Smith. We get to hear from a few more shining stars here. I welcome students from our Youth Commission to join me. Phoebe Anthony, Eva Gennaro, Haidaya, Bukanya, Anyaka, St. Prue. Come on up.
I'm a little short, so. Good morning, everyone. My name is Phoebe Anthony, and I'm a junior at Newton South High School. Let me ask you first a question. What do spiders in our community have in common? Now, I know you might be thinking, what on earth do spiders have to do with us? In Newton, unity flows through our veins, as evident in the vibrant mosaic of our community. Each of us brings something unique to the table, representing different neighborhoods, backgrounds, and experiences. At Newton South, each student is usually involved in at least one group, but this doesn't limit them. Everyone has some tie or connection with another student in a different group, whether they're actively conscious of this or not. Likewise, the Newton Youth Commission, which I'm a part of, is rich in diversity, whether that be through ethnicity, activities, or even music taste. It is this diversity that enriches our community, fostering an environment where there is something to learn from someone else, always forming a link, and this link creates a spider web of relationships. Just like a spider's web, our community is woven with strands that link us all together, creating a strong and resilient network of support, growth, and harmony. Each individual strand of the web is crucial to the web's overall strength, as in our community, each and every one of us plays a vital role. We are the threads that interconnect, forming the intricate tapestry that formulate our lives. Now, spider silk is said to be as strong as steel, but even with strong material, it can still break. Within this spider web of connectivity, it is so easy to feel alone or isolated. It is a stark reality that even when surrounded by a group of people, one can experience a sense of disconnection and struggle to find their place, as if their unique strand in the spider web is untethered. At that moment, their silky strand disintegrates and they are no longer connected to the spider web anymore. It is in these moments that our community's true strength is put to the test. It is our responsibility as leaders and members of this community to reach out, to bridge the gaps, to ensure that no one feels isolated or left behind. We must be vigilant and compassionate, reach out to those who may be silently struggling, and extend a hand of friendship and understanding. It is our collective responsibility to ensure that no one is left to bear their burdens alone. By fostering an environment of inclusivity and empathy, we can dismantle the barriers that isolate individuals, strengthen the bonds within our community, and mend the frayed strands, weaving an even stronger, more resilient web. But just as one tug on one strand of a spider's web reverberates throughout the entire structure, our words and actions echo far beyond our immediate interactions. Let us remember that every single decision we make, every act of kindness or indifference, sends ripples through the lives of our fellow community members. So let us use our voices to uplift and empower others and hearts to unite. We can shape a community where no one feels invisible or unheard, where every person's strand is valued and celebrated. By doing so, we create a city that is not just a collection of individuals, but a true tapestry of connection, resilience, and harmony. So I encourage each and every one of us to embrace the power we hold as members of this incredible community and recognize the strength in our unity, the beauty in our diversity, and the transformative potential we possess. With a commitment to foster an environment where no one feels alone or isolated, we can weave a strong, vibrant, and inclusive Newton woven together in harmony. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Eva Nairo, and I'm a junior.
I'm Annika St. Preux, and I'm a senior.
I'm Hadaya Bukenya, and I'm a senior.
We all go to Newton North, and we have a small spoken word poem that we wrote, so this is it.
SOLIDARY. Supporting one another with open arms, minds, and hearts.
Opportunities to rise above revenge.
Letting the love in and the light out.
Intertwined realities, all creating the genesis of something beautiful together.
Dreams we manifest into existence.
Accepting the past, looking towards the future.
Riots are the language of the unheard.
Initiating steps through the silence, breaking the sound barrier of stagnance.
Today, we take down our walls, revealing us hand in hand.
Yearning for change is yesterday's trial. Today's tribulation is going the mile.
SOLIDARY.
Solidarity.
We will close with two things. I invite our interfaith clergy, Reverend Scott. Did your children get to school on time? Okay, good. We're glad you could have gotten an excuse from the superintendent if you needed it, but there we go. We will hear from Devlin Scott, and we will also hear then from the Newton South Madrigals. But good. Both of you, come on up.
I don't know about your family, but we have a pretty intense schedule for our household, and I don't know how we missed all of the other adults in the house being gone during the same time, and me soloing it in the house. So I'm grateful to be here. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. These words were uttered at the end of the life of a man who some would say was at least an important historic figure. Most would say was a wise teacher or a rabbi. Still some would say he was just a cool dude. To me, he is so much more. He is divine. He's the center the center point of my faith tradition. And depending on how you view him, these words are at least a salutation, a farewell, a parting word for those who admire him. At best, these words are prophetic. They are a prayer. It's his desire for those who followed him. It's a gift nonetheless. Peace I leave with you. If you would allow me to lean on the latter to give emphasis to the former, we will end up somewhere in the middle where these words are inspirational, intentional, powerful, and hopeful. These same words will give space for fellowship and acknowledgement of your neighbor in houses of worship for years to come as they pass the peace, embodying our identity as peacemakers and training our hearts, hands, and tongues in the ways of peace. These words would be proclaimed by other notable figures throughout history. Dalai Lama would warn us, do not let the behaviors of others destroy your inner peace. Mother Teresa would encourage us that peace begins with a smile. Eleanor Roosevelt would challenge us that it isn't enough to talk about peace. Our peace, one must believe it. It isn't enough just to believe it, but one must work at it. John F. Kennedy would remind us that peace is a daily, a weekly, a monthly process, gradually changing opinions, slowly eroding old barriers, quietly building new structures. Even the great Jimi Hendrix would serenade us with wisdom, saying, when the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. And perhaps one of the most notable reminders of peace is when Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King said, true peace is not merely the absence of tension, it's the presence of justice. Justice. What does peace and justice have to do with one another? You see, Dr. King grabbed a hold of a piece that resembled what was uttered by that historic figure, that wise teacher, that cool dude, and to him, too, he was the center point of his faith tradition. And perhaps with a little help from his good friend, Rabbi Abraham Heschel, Dr. King understood this kind of peace to be better represented as shalom. You see, shalom is far more than a salutation or well wishes. It carries a hope for the recipient that they may be whole, that they may have well-being. It's the idea that everything is set right as it's intended to be. I like the way that my friend Caleb McCoy, a rapper from Dorchester, put it. He says, yeah, peace, no, shalom is probably better. Shalom is everything working exactly how God intended. It's pointing out all the evil and bleeding what's been oppressive, recovering what was lost and bringing it to potential. I say peace, but shalom is probably better. Shalom is everything working exactly how God intended. It's pointing out all the evil and bleeding what's been oppressive, recovering what was lost and bringing it to potential. Yeah. Shalom is the kind of peace that understands that where there is no justice, there can be no peace. And where there is this kind of peace, where this kind of peace is lacking, there can be no real justice. And it's not merely the absence of tension, it's the presence of that justice. Shalom recognizes that in order for there to be justice, there might have to be some tension. You might have to shake some things up. You might have to step on some toes. It ain't kumbaya. It's the work of setting all things right. But what's the goal? What's the point? Unity is the goal. True unity is the point. True unity can't exist on the back of some pseudo vending machine kind of peace where folks are simply quiet, behaved, or compliant for the measly sake of keeping the appearance of this make-believe, Happy Meal, toy box kind of peace. It only works standing on the foundation of shalom. When we put all things right, when we make people and neighborhoods whole, when we cease to be bystanders and become upstanders, when we love our neighbors as ourselves, organize for racial justice, welcome our neighbor, reparate redlining, when we celebrate difference, when we just make room, when we eliminate food insecurity and teach all of American history to our kids, when we simply do what is right. Unity is the byproduct, it's the result, it's the conclusion, it's the outcome. Unity is the outcome of shalom. So, shalom I give you. This shalom I leave with you. What will you do with it? I sure hope you will pass this kind of peace so that we can truly experience unity in this city. So allow me and my friend Ken here, as we co-lead the Newton Interfaith Clergy Association, to offer these words of benediction to you today. Go in peace. No. Community, go in shalom, because it's so much better. Because shalom is everything working exactly how God intended. It's us pointing out all the evil and bleeding what's been oppressive here in Newton so that we may recover what was lost and then bring it to potential. Oh, that we might have true community. Amen.
people here do not believe that you know the words to Happy Together. In fact, they don't even know that song exists. I'm telling them that people of a certain age know this song. Please don't prove me wrong. Thank you.
You were right. We knew it. We are so happy together. There can be miracles when you believe. Thank you for coming this morning, for strengthening the web of community. You all look fabulous, and I hope you have a great day.